thanks for reaching out, guys. We've just
Actually,
kind of been.
somebody from Tokyo Rose reached out
Oh, well, thank you
originally.
for
Yeah.
responding.
Yeah, we got a message about if anyone ever wants a guest for the podcast and blah blah blah. And I'm like, we'll keep you in mind. We'll keep you in mind. And then I got another message about your new song coming out and everything. And then here we are.
Here we are.
Because we had some openings. So we were like, hey, you want to come on?
Yeah, definitely. I think that was probably Chris, our bass player. He's very active
He's the
on.
active socials guy.
Yeah, he's the socials guy for sure. I'm stuck in 2007.
I mean, it wasn't a bad year.
Same. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for coming on and chatting with us. If you could just introduce yourself to people who may not know who you are.
Cool. Yeah, well, what's up, everybody? I'm Ryan Dominguez from the band Tokyo Rose out of New Jersey. We were a band, like an active band in the early 2000s. I guess just like Jessica and Chris, we or categorize ourselves as elder emo. Um, Kind of came up in the ranks, with the Midtowns and the My Chemical Romances and the Armor for Sleeps, Hidden in Plain View, a bunch of bands from Jersey, and then kind of along the way, some bands from Long Island, like Taking Back Sunday, and we did tours and dates with a bunch of those bands with the Vans Warped Tour, and after I don't know, I think it was 17 or 18 years of hiatus, an indefinite hiatus. We were convinced to do a reunion show, and now we're back. We're having so much fun, and we decided to write some new music, and that kind of brings us fast forward to today.
Yeah. Is that the moment that made you guys decide to, make a comeback and start writing again, playing that reunion show?
We actually got a call that summer from our good friend John Damiano, who is involved with the Emo Night Karaoke outfit. And he talked to us about playing a reunion show, and then one reunion show kind of turned into a weekend of shows that really kind of got those creative juices flowing again. And yeah, we had such a good time playing with this lineup of guys. So Tokyo Rose was active for about 9 years, and we had about nine different guitar players and drummers. Um, and Sean, who plays drums with us, uh, and Matt, who plays guitar with us, they didn't play together in Tokyo Rose. But we all got back together this time around, and it felt really good, to play music together in this formation, and it felt even better to write music together. So that kind of spawned it.
And now we kind of alluded at the beginning that there is a new song kind of coming. Just curious, how's the writing process changed since the early 2000s?
Yeah. Well, Matt has a basement. I think he's the only one of us that has a basement. And Matt lives in Eastern Pennsylvania, as does Chris, our bass player. And so we kind of get together and practice, and we have ideas that we've, maybe demoed on our computers or in our home kind of setups, and then we'll email it or like Google Drive it to each other or Dropbox it, and then we kind of get together and flesh it out. It usually doesn't end up the way that it started, because everybody kind of throws in their own, like seasoning. It's kind of like a stone soup. Everybody kind of brings something, and it becomes something else that is greater than the sum of its parts.
Do you find it easier to collaborate like that now versus, everybody in a room back in the day?
I mean, I think that's just how we did it back then, right? Like we didn't have day jobs, we didn't have families, and so we just spent hours and hours in someone's basement. And yeah, it kind of cuts down some of that time. And yeah, because we all kind of have some sort of capability to do some home recording, it works out pretty well to to do it with technology.
And now how has Tokyo Rose evolved musically and sonically since those mid 2000s releases?
Yeah. I don't know if it's hard to say, like we're so much older now, and there was such a big gap between these songs, this music and the original Tokyo Rose music. Um, but we kind of grew up in the Jersey scene, the kind of following, kind of parallel with a lot of the Drive-Thru Records bands. And then, Midtown was one of those first bands for us that, it was kind of, it felt like a flash in the pan. It was kind of like we had kind of come out of that kind of third wave of ska. And then a lot of those guys started playing rock music and, pop punk music. Newfound Glory toured Jersey back in, I want to say, 99, and like blew everybody's doors off. And then we had Saves the Day come out with Can't Slow Down, and Midtown coming around. So we definitely had that pop punk mentality moving forward. But then we were all listening to Midwest emo. We were listening to the Get Up Kids. We were listening to um, bands like Jimmy Eat World, bands like Death Cab for Cutie, and just kind of taking along those influences as well. Some of our favorite emo bands are from Jersey. You have a band like Penfold from New Brunswick, the same town that we all got together the first time while we were at college. And actually, I cut my first class in college to see Penfold play in a basement. I believe it was at the Midtown House. It was on Easton Ave in New Brunswick, New Jersey. And yeah, like those kind of bands just like, helped us develop into, kind of a more alternative rock, kind of pulling in those emo influences. And then you had bands like, like Fall Out Boy coming out of Chicago area, kind of mixing all those influences together too. And then, yeah, we kind of moved along with that. We've kind of incorporated, elements of some of our favorite rock bands as well. Like we we loved Coldplay when they were a rock band. We love the Foo Fighters. We'll always love the Foo Fighters. And then being Green Day fans, since middle school, kind of like incorporating all those influences to kind of create, um, I guess, our own sound. We experimented with different things here and there, but we've kind of evolved into, um, yeah, more of an alternative rock band, if there's an alternative anymore. Um, and because we've gotten older and we can't jump around the stage synchronized anymore. Not that we ever really did, but yeah, the music's kind of gotten more. Um, our musicality has kind of developed because we don't run around stage anymore. We stand there and noodle a little bit more than we used to.
Well, we're all getting older, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Just a bit, just a bit. Now
for
I'm
sure.
curious, you said there's no basements? You don't have a basement? Or do you live in an apartment or something?
Yeah, like we all live in
Ah,
apartments.
I was gonna say, I can't believe there's no basements in Jersey.
Yeah, we're kind of in like more towards the New York Manhattan border, so it's a lot more apartments and boxes on top of boxes, basically.
Yeah, because you said Matt, the drummer, he has a basement in Pennsylvania, and I'm like, well, that makes sense because you're in
Yeah,
Pennsylvania. A
absolutely. Yeah, he's out in I want to say Bucks County, but I don't think that's right.
lot more
But yeah,
tornadoes in Pennsylvania.
yeah.
Right,
What?
Chris?
Are there?
Then in Jersey?
I
It's
I don't have tornado statistics at my ready, but it doesn't seem like there'd be that much more because we don't have a lot more in New York.
it's
I don't
true.
know. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot less tornadoes in Jersey
You're gonna make me look this up.
than there would be in Pennsylvania. Because isn't Pennsylvania like kind of part of Tornado Alley now? Like a
No,
new Tornado Alley?
no. New Tornado Alley. What are you
I
making up?
mean, it could be.
Chris will
A lot,
find out for
a
us. It's
lot has
okay.
changed.
Do you want me to keep going while we figure this out, Chris?
Yeah, please do.
Please do. So yeah, it's been like 19 years since Tokyo Rose has written anything new.
Yeah, something like that. It's
Yeah.
we had tunes that we were working on, and then we released an album in 2007, and we had some songs that like didn't make the final cut, and then there were songs that we were writing for for a new release, and then in 2000, like midway through 2008, yeah, towards the end of 2008, we hung it up
Yeah.
indefinitely. So there was like a small quiver of songs that were kind of on
Yeah,
the back
I
burner.
was gonna say, you know, were you guys digging into like old demos for new songs, or were you just starting from scratch?
A little bit of both. There were some tunes that the melodies were kind of undeniable, and then there were a couple like just instrumentals that we had written separately in for different projects, and we kind of like laid them on top of each other, and they sounded cool. So then that kind of formed new music, and yeah, I feel like maybe the subject matter has changed a little bit in
Yeah.
lyrical content, and we kind of just sing from the same place, just 15 years older, 15, 16
Right,
years
right.
older.
And you've gone through different things now in life.
Yep,
We were younger
absolutely.
back then, and now we have other things to worry about as we're getting older.
That's right. That awesome festival in Las Vegas when we were young, like now we're old, and it's different.
That should be another festival they start,
Yeah,
now
it
now
should
that we're older.
it should be in like Florida somewhere, you
In
know,
the what do they call that one community in Florida? I forget.
Del Boca Vista.
Good Seinfeld reference.
Yeah,
No, no, no. There's the actual one. I'm forgetting what it's called. It'll come to me much later. Yeah, just in one of the retirement communities in
yep.
Florida. Um, so I guess theoretically you're right, Jess. Pennsylvania averages over the last 5 years 110 tornadoes.
Whoa,
New Jersey only had 33, but
wow.
that's still nothing compared to like actual Tornado Alley, who has like 3 to 400.
Right. Well, that's like in the Kansas area, right?
Kansas. Kansas is pretty far down. Kansas had 229. Like Iowa,
They
Illinois,
only had 229.
Yeah, right.
Iowa, Illinois, Alabama, Mississippi, Texas. They have the
Wherever
most.
Dorothy is from, right?
Kansas.
Kansas.
There you go.
See, but I think because the weather patterns have changed, a lot of stuff has shifted. So Tornado Alley is kind of slightly off from when it was back in the day.
Now that makes sense.
It does. It does make sense. Lots of sense. Now, coming back with new music, you have older fans how have your older fans been taking it? Are they very excited? And how does it feel knowing that a newer generation might discover Tokyo Rose for the first time now?
That's to answer the first part of your question, I think a lot of our older fans, they become friends over the years, and I think they're just excited to see, us to see us like out live, and to hear new tunes. So they've received it pretty well, and thank you to them because they've been so kind over the many years. And then yeah, the prospect of a new generation hearing us is kind of crazy, like we were very much a MySpace era band, and a lot of kids now like only know of that in kind of posthumously. um and I think yeah, with social media and stuff, it's so interesting because I hear a lot of bands who have that quote unquote nostalgic sound, and it's like, oh, but you're like 18, these kids, like, or they're in their mid to late 20s. I just saw that, what was it, like Neck Deep and Knuckle Puck just released a split EP, or like a record together, and it's like that's what we used to do back in the day, that like we have so many split EPs that people were on, and that like kind of influenced the scene. So like to have, to maybe be mentioned on a comp or something with these newer bands, like we think like how the world has kind of gotten turned on to Turnstile. It's like, oh my gosh, like, those guys were like babies, you know, when we were like even even after us, and it's like to see them now just so huge and well deserved. Um, that like if Tokyo is going to be mentioned, somewhat in the fringe of a conversation of a band like that is mind boggling because we are old.
Only as old as we let ourselves feel, though, right?
Yeah,
True.
yeah,
Some days I feel older than others, so
it's true.
Now, talking new music again. When this episode airs, you guys will have released a brand new song back on January 16th. Can you tell us what went into writing that song and what the inspiration was?
Yeah, so that was one of those songs kind of from the vault, from the like the back burner that was never meant to be released, I think. And there was kind of a melody and a bit of a groove that was planned for this song. And even though we're much older now, it kind of has similar content about about relationships, about kind of like missed relationships. And I think rewriting some of those lyrics today with the musicality that we have, it almost feels as though um, it's from a different perspective, even. And I think it's a perspective that only time can give us. Kind of looking back, like more. Uh, Less mournfully on a failed relationship and more kind of um what's the word I'm looking for, like grateful, grateful. It feels weird to say, but it's like because I feel like so much of this kind of music is like breakup songs, you know
hmm.
and this is more of like it was a good thing, and like we're all better off because of it kind of thing. But it came out of the vault, and then Chris and Sean had kind of crafted a different groove and gave the song a different feel, made it feel like modern Tokyo Rose.
Modern Tokyo Rose.
Yeah,
It's interesting how just getting older gives us that different perspective on, oh man, that was a tough heartbreak too. You know what? All right. That's all right.
That's because we're
yeah,
older and wiser now.
exactly. Older and wiser.
We've lived more.
Yep,
Yeah, that and I think algorithms shove healing down our throat.
that's
Um,
true.
at least they do for me. I watched like one therapist that came up in my reels on Instagram, and now it's all therapists, and I'm like, just because I watched it for maybe 5 seconds longer than the rest, it's
Yep,
all therapy now.
you lingered, man. That's what happens. Yeah.
Now that we talked about that new song, I want to go back in time a little bit. What is your personal favorite Tokyo Rose song? And can you tell us more about why it's your favorite and what went into it?
I know, a tough question.
That's a deep cut right there. We kind of last year we released New American Saint, the album for our 20th anniversary, and we put two songs that kind of didn't make the American release on there. And one of the songs that has always been really fun to play live is called Philadelphia in the Springtime. And our bass player Chris wrote that song. And when we recorded that song, it felt like it belonged on the record, but the label really wanted to have one kind of to hold one off so we could make a deluxe edition for Japan release. But yeah, that's one of my favorite songs to play live now, and it always was back then. But I think it's a little bit slower, a little bit heavier, and our musicality shows a little bit more in it. So I think that's one of my favorite songs now. And like I said, Chris, our bass player, wrote it. So it's like, oh, I don't know any of the story behind it except that it's fun to play and it sounds really cool. Um, but then if I go back to that album as well, we had to listen to it again because it got remastered for the vinyl release. A song called "The Hard Eight" on that album. Always sits with me. It was kind of like a love letter slash like a cautionary tale um, to kind of the culture that was around us of like working overtime, just like working too hard. And just the groove of that song and the way it kind of pushes forward, like just trudging in the trenches. It really is one of my favorites that we put out.
Now, since you mentioned New American Saint, my favorite off of there is I Love You Too.
Oh, cool.
Um, can you tap into what the inspiration was for that song?
Yeah, yeah. We started off as a band kind of in this iteration. I think we recorded an EP, I want to say in the summer of 2001. And we had like four like solid pop punk kind of uh anthems, right? And then we were writing a fifth song for an EP. And I had I Love You Too as an acoustic song, and we wanted something to kind of set it apart. We were very heavily influenced, at least I was very heavily influenced at the start of Tokyo Rose by Dashboard Confessional. I think most emos were. And he had done a couple songs on a couple EPs with, I want to say her name is Rachel, the singer of Rocking Horse Winter, who was on Equal Vision Records at the time. So I really was craving to do an acoustic song with a female vocal. And so we went around the Poconos, Pennsylvania, with an acoustic guitar, and we played like at the mall. I sat on a bench at the mall, and, like started playing the song, and we would call out like kind of, I think we parked like in front of the Hot Topic, and we're just like, hey, does anybody know a female vocalist? We'd love to work with somebody. And funnily enough, somebody working at the Hot Topic pointed us to a go-kart center in the Poconos. And so we went out there because they knew that one of the daughters of the owner of the go-kart place was a vocalist. And this vocalist, her name's Katie Pandolfo. Shout out, Katie. We love you. She had just done a performance. She was in a film called Wet Hot American Summer by David Wayne and the State Guys. Um, and so she had done a performance of Day by Day from the musical Godspeed. So she was kind of getting known around the area as a vocalist. So we went to the go-kart place. We found Katie's contact. We got in touch with Katie, and Katie came into the studio with us to do this song, this acoustic song. And we ended up adding a bunch of different layers on it with the engineer who recorded it. And it just didn't feel complete. It was an EP. It was an acoustic, all acoustic, like no drums, no like distorted guitars or anything, which is kind of like what our sound was. So when we went back to do New American Saint in 2005 in Atlanta, we were like, you know what, that song, we want to give that song kind of a treatment, like kind of like the full treatment. So we had like, the full band on it towards the end of the song, and then we didn't have a female vocalist then either. So our producer at the time was like, hey, I just worked with this amazing vocalist called Anna Becker, who lives in Atlanta. She's like, I'll call her up and see if she wants to come do it. And she came and like knocked it out of the park. I don't know, I haven't really talked with Anna in many years, but she had her kind of career starting as well. So she came and did her guest vocal on that. And I feel like with Matt Goldman as the producer, he helped us bring in all these other elements that made it feel like the song was complete finally. And then bringing Anna along to help the song kind of just feel like we'd actually given it the respect it deserved.
Yeah. Well, I love when people, that's a good story actually. I really like that story. You find this girl at a go-kart track
Yeah.
from some Hot Topic people.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Oh
how
yeah.
MySpace is that?
It's so MySpace. It's the definition of it.
It's the definition of MySpace. I mean, Hot Topic was very big in the MySpace days, that's for sure.
For sure. It was always like the dream to get like a shirt at Hot Topic or like be on a comp that Hot Topic was selling at the counter. Um,
Yep.
and
That's when they had
eventually
the
we
little
did.
headset. They had the headphones at the Hot Topic. You could listen to stuff.
That's right. You could listen to stuff. So in 2006, no, 2007, we got on the Warped Tour compilation finally. Um, and it was in Hot Topic. I was like, oh, we made it. Like, we don't have
You
to do
made
anything
it.
else. Yeah.
You made it. So now you guys did your reunion shows and everything, and you guys have been playing, shows here or there
hmm
since then. So how has it been playing shows again?
It's been really fun. We've been really blessed to have maintained contact with a lot of the bands that we played with and toured with. So bands that who also kind of reunited in the last couple of years. So the reunion shows happened, and we brought on like friends bands who were from the area, and then our friends in Catch 22 had a show in Jersey after a long time of not playing in Jersey, and we got to play with them. And then we through them we met Keep Flying, who's this amazing like punk ska band as well. And then we went out. I want to say, did we go out to California? Yeah, we went out to California with our friends from Beautiful Mistake, who are kind of like a San Diego based band, more of like a screamo, like a more melodic post-hardcore band.
Hmm.
And so we did a tour with them, and then good friends in Audio Karate, who's a pop punk band from LA or Orange County, and then Watashi Wa from California as well, who's more kind of like a they were on Tooth and Nail. They're more of a melodic. They were an emo band, more like I want to say like a 2000s era Gin Blossoms kind of vibe. We love them. They're like some of our favorite musicians, all of those guys. And so we got together with those guys, and then most recently we were in Chicagoland with Park and the Junior Varsity, who are two bands that we loved playing with. Also, two bands that just like shred every night. Like we every night we did on tour with those guys, we would watch them. 20 years ago. So, and the fact that they still do it and they still got it, that was really fun. And then over the summer, we got to do some dates with Red Jumpsuit Apparatus, who were always like, heroes to see them doing it at Warped Tour, and their messaging, like such nice, down to earth people, and that stand for really cool things. And yeah, we got to do some shows with them, which was, not in the cards because we didn't tour with them for on the road outside of Warped Tour, so it was cool to kind of reconnect with them and see them do their thing. And those guys are fantastic. So then we kind of came home and did some more local things with friends out here. But yeah, we kind of just trying to see what's happening next. We want to get this new music out and
Hmm.
put the rest of an EP out there to the world, and see what happens after that.
Yeah. Did you go to Warped Tour?
We didn't get to go. No, I
No.
mean, like I really wanted to go to DC, couldn't make it, and then we were out in LA and in California, I think a week or two after, so we couldn't swing it to go out there
It
for
just
it.
didn't happen. Well, maybe next year.
Yeah, hopefully it comes
Maybe
back,
maybe
and
you'll get asked to play next year. You never know.
that'll be amazing. I mean, we love Mr. Lyman, and we love everything that Warped Tour. I think we've played three separate Warped Tours, like chunks of Warped Tours, and all the friends that we had there, and just the camaraderie with all the bands. We were one of those bands that was in a van, while like all the other bands were kind of in buses. So we were kind of always those was our heroes that were traveling in the buses, and getting to like rub shoulders with those guys, was always the dream come true.
Yeah, no, I thinking back, I saw you guys in 2006 in Syracuse at a place
Yeah.
called The Furnace, which was
Oh
like a
yeah.
small venue in a church.
Yep.
Do you remember playing that location
Yeah,
at all?
absolutely. Because we didn't go to Syracuse very often, so yeah. And I think that was on a there was a it was a tour where we played a few like VFW and church basements. It was that's where the scene is. That's the underground.
Yeah, I think it was with Kids in the Way
Yep,
and
the Fold and
House of
House
Heroes.
of Heroes. Oh, another
Mhm.
band's band. Just this power pop trio that was crushing it every night.
Yeah, I know you guys played like Milwaukee at the
Yeah.
Shorewood Legion Hall, and
Oh
then you
yeah.
also played like Lacrosse at the Warehouse, which is that venue that
Oh.
has a long ass stairwell.
Oh yeah, I remember taking Chris's bass cab, that his huge 810 bass cab that weighed 200 pounds up those stairs. But always getting a cool Jones soda at the top of the stairs when we got there.
Yeah, I don't think I made it out to any of those shows,
Yeah,
unfortunately. I know they were, it was with like Small Towns Burn a Little Slower.
yeah, love those guys. We did, I think we did two separate tours with those guys, Danny and Sean. Sean's still a good friend. He lives in Poland now. Sean played drums in Small Towns, and he lives in Poland now. And we reconnected about 10 years ago. He moved to New York, and I'm still in Jersey. So we spent a good amount of time together before he moved to Poland.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you guys make it back to Wisconsin and
Oh,
then
we
I
hope
can come
so.
see you.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, lacrosse was always fun. Warehouse was fun. I think we did triple rock with those guys too. Um, in Milwaukee. Or no, is that in Minnesota? That may be in Minnesota.
Minnesota probably, because I don't know of a place called Triple Rock.
Yeah, Triple Rock
I
Social
think
Club.
it's Minnesota.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
Do you have
Oh,
do you have any crazy stories from your
sure.
travels or even
Yeah.
just performing? Things that happen randomly while you're performing?
Yeah, absolutely.
We love stories.
Yeah. So I think, when I think of the Wisconsins and I think of Minnesotas, I think instantly of lacrosse, right? And I remember the first time we ever played the warehouse there, it was so cold. I think it was like our first time experiencing weather in the teens or in the single digits even. And we get out of the van, and we're hot and sweaty, like five sweaty dudes in the van. We get out, like we're still wearing like our basketball shorts and stuff, and like this sensation that I've never felt before, like of my nose hairs freezing, like stepping out. I think I will never forget this experience. But it was in Lacrosse, Wisconsin. Um, that's not one of the crazier stories, but it's just one of those crazy sensations that I never thought I'd experience.
Was it one of the ones where it's like instant freeze?
Oh yeah, like instant
Yeah.
freeze. It must have been in the single digits, and
Had
the
to
fact
be.
that we're like wearing pajamas basically coming out of the van. The heat's cranked, and yeah, it's completely unexpected. Um, I think a lot of my favorite memories on tour are from the middle of the country. We played a show in, I want to say, Cedar Rapids, Iowa, with some locals when we were on tour, and the locals were like super cool. They wanted to hang out, and so after the show, they're like, "Hey, I think there's a party. Do you guys want to stay at our house and you'll drop off all your stuff? And the only way to get to this party is you have to ride in the back of a pickup truck." And that's the only time I've ever gotten a ride in the back of a pickup truck. So we ride in the back of the pickup truck, and of course, like you think you can sit up in a pickup truck, but these kids were booking it into the cornfields. So I think one of us almost like bounced and fell out of the pickup truck bed, and then so for the rest of the time we just laid down flat in the bed of the pickup truck. And we got there, like all you could see was corn around us. But you get there and there's this massive party in a barn. Like kids are like shooting off fireworks into cornfields. We're like, is that safe? That doesn't feel safe. But then of course, a few PBRs or whatever we were drinking that night, a few of those later, we're shooting the fireworks at each other. We're shooting like Roman candles at each other across these cornfields. And it was just one of those nights where like we never thought we'd be in a cornfield having a party, shooting Roman candles and bottle rockets at each other. Um, it's one of those moments that, you think you see a teen movie, and like it feels like you're in a teen movie. Because we we all kind of come from being in bands, but we were kind of like band nerds, so we weren't really like at big parties like that growing up. Um, and yeah, that's one of those memories. And then a memory of playing. We got to tour in Japan twice. And one time we played this huge outdoor festival outside of Tokyo with bands like Bowling for Soup, Against Me, um, Punchline from Pittsburgh, and a bunch of other American bands were there for this festival. And it was our first time in Japan, and so I and the rest of the guys took full advantage of sake machines, like sake vending machines, because they were cheaper. It was cheaper to buy sake out of the vending machine than getting it from the liquor store or whatever. And sake like has this amazing ability to thin the blood. So you drink it hot, and so when we get up that morning of the show, all of us are hungover, and our blood is super thin. And we're playing early in this festival, and it's a sea of Japanese fans. They just love American music. They're bouncing, they're singing all the words, and I hit my guitar so hard because I'm so pumped, I'm so enthused that I slice open like the corner of my finger on my G string, I want to say, and I start bleeding all over my guitar. I have this gold top Gibson Les Paul. It's my prize possession, my pride and joy. I get blood all over it, and we're playing, maybe I want to say 15 feet from the barrier where people are pressed up against, and it's all Japanese people except for this one girl who's like blonde hair, blue eyed, like she's completely out of place, and she's wearing like a cashmere sweater, and I go and pop my fist with one of the lyrics, and blood splatters all over her cashmere sweater, which I think was like white or like off white, very bright, and my blood gets all over her, and she runs away screaming. And that was just the first night of that tour, the first night of that time in Japan. Later on that night, or the next night, we opened for Bowling for Soup. And then during Bowling for Soup's set, Punchline's on the show as well, and they dare me to go stage dive uh, in my underwear. Nothing but my underwear. But then they found a bunch of bubble wrap because somebody had a guitar delivered that night. So they wrapped me in bubble wrap, and then they pushed me off the front of the stage during, like what's Bowling for Soup? Their biggest song.
Oh, there's
Oh,
multiple.
yeah.
1985 comes to mind.
1985. Yeah, it was definitely 1985. So Steve and Chris from Punchline like pushed me to the front of stage and then pushed me off to stage dive. But they didn't tell me, and they had been to Japan before, and I didn't know this. But in Japan, people don't stage dive. Like they're not accustomed to it. They're not accustomed to catching people, and like it's like Moses parting the Red Sea. Like the kids separate and I fall flat on my face, but I'm wrapped in bubble wrap. So I get back up, full of sake, and I'm just like, let's do it again. Um, and it was just one of those experiences. And this is the first time we're in Japan. So the next time we go to Japan, I'm a lot more mature. It's like 3 years later. But yeah, these are some of the crazy tour stories.
You were a bubble boy.
I absolutely was. I don't know if maybe Jake Gyllenhaal stole the idea from me.
Maybe. Maybe. You never know. You never know.
He was the second one out of place that night that you just didn't see.
Yes, yes.
That had to be a lot of bubble wrap, though.
It was a lot. Yeah. I think one of the Bowling for Soup guys must have had a guitar delivered, if I remember correctly. And there was just a lot of it.
Now, on the flip side of crazy stories, what are some hard truths or lessons that you learned while you were on the road?
Yeah. Oof. It's a good question too. Um, well, as a band, we had only been experienced being burgled um, a few times. Um, the one time we were burgled, We it was back in the day before like Square and credit card machines and things like that. I think it was even like most of our touring was before smartphones. But so we had a cash box, a money box that you locked and was supposed to be like this vault. Well, we didn't want to leave it in the van when we checked into a hotel, like a motel, a really like dingy motel. So we brought it into the motel, thinking that if the van gets broken into, the worst they can do is steal our gear and like our, whatever we keep in the van. But they can't get into the trailer because we backed that up against the wall. But nobody broke into the van. But there was like a fire alarm or something goes off in the motel, so we all have to evacuate. And it's like so close to the time we need to leave that we just get up and we're like, okay, we're not going to go back. Let's just go. But we left the cash box in the hotel room, and we get like 3 hours down the road to the next show and realize we don't have this cash box. So we have to turn back around and go to the hotel. And we get back there and they say, oh, yeah, we found this in the hotel room. But it was like, when they gave it back to us, it was short close to $1,000 of cash. And so the only idea behind it was that someone must have taken it out of there, must have found it in the hotel room and then taken it out of there. So that don't use a cash box. Now you don't have to use cash anyways. So if you have a cash box, just leave it in the van. It's fine. It's gonna be fine. Just hide it,
Hide
put
it
it
under the seat.
under the seat. Exactly. And then yeah, the other time we were burgled, it was because the van was not backed up against a wall. So somebody did break into the trailer and stole Matt's pedal board. And Matt, to this day, the next day after that show, he couldn't buy a pedal board. Like Guitar Center wasn't as prevalent as it is now. But he goes to the hardware store and he goes to a local music store and he makes a pedal board out of wood and two handles and then assembles a pedal board with similar pedals to what he had, but just it was like about $1,000 in pedal board that was stolen. So always back the van and trailer up to a wall so that people can't open the trailer.
It's great advice.
Yeah.
Great advice. Always back the trailer up to a wall.
Yep.
So I'm curious, if you had to plan a tour with only bands from the scene you had to resurrect,
Okay.
who would you revive and bring along?
Oof. Well, who hasn't already
Resurrected?
reunited? Yeah. We were in Arizona earlier last year, and we saw a poster for the Format coming back, and oh man, we loved the Format, and of course we love Nate and we love what he did with Fun, but we were huge Format fans. I'd love to be on the road with Format, um, and then I mean, so many bands from that era too that kind of maybe haven't come back yet. Bands from the New Brunswick scene that we loved. There was a band called Paulson from New Jersey. I think they did end up getting signed kind of later on, but they were so fun and so phenomenal to watch because they were um, super talented and they incorporated a lot of kind of like drum and bass in their music, in their kind of emo music, and yeah, they were super good. A band called The Finals from New Jersey. Another band called Welcome Home Travis from New Jersey. Just such great guys, really fun to hang out with, good music. Um, you know, we we never got to play with My Chem, back in the day. But my very first show was in a church basement when I'm like 16, and Gerard and Frank were in a group called Hybrid, and they were really good. I liked them a lot. It was before they became My Chem, before they became Pensy Prep, and then before they became My Chem. But I always thought they were really good. I'm surprised they didn't do more as Hybrid. Um, and then yeah, just bands that we played with from back then. Small Towns Burn a Little Slower from Minnesota, and then a band from Atlanta called A Small Victory, who we did some touring with. I think everybody else that we were really tight with has gotten back together in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Oh, and and they are kind of back, but Copeland, we loved playing with them and watching them every night. They're fantastic, and May obviously is back too. They never really went away. Um, just fantastic bands from that area and that time.
Yeah, Matchbook Romance has been teasing some
Oh
stuff
yeah.
now.
Oh, that would be great too.
I'm pretty sure they're releasing some stuff. They've
Okay.
been they've been teasing on the socials, and I'm like, you better. And if they go on a tour, they best come close enough for me to go to, dang it.
Yeah,
Definitely. Ah,
I
they're so good.
I commented the most recent one where it's like that eye looking through a wall or whatever it
Yeah.
is. I
Yep.
commented being like, "Don't you play with my emotions."
Yeah, a lot of
Ooh.
people are saying though they're like just gonna do like a reunion and then like play voices potentially. That's what people
Okay.
But
are
the
kind of doing, and I'm like,
but
I don't know.
the song on that post I didn't recognize.
Oh.
I don't know. Maybe it's some voices reunion that has new music as well.
Who
I don't know.
knows?
I
Just
hope not. I hope it's new stuff and that they do like a small tour or something.
that'd be
I gotta
fun.
be able to come. Even if they go to like your area, Chris, maybe I'll travel.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
coming
wait,
out to Syracuse.
yeah. Are they? They're from like Orange. Is it Orange County in New York? They're
Yeah,
from.
they're
Poughkeepsie?
from
Weren't they from Poughkeepsie?
Oh yeah.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's Orange County, I think. I think
Something like that. Yeah.
somewhere
Hudson
in the
Valley.
southern tier. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I'm just curious because you're mentioning all these bands from Jersey. Do you remember a band called Can You Keep a Secret out of
Not.
Asbury Park?
No. Not
No.
super familiar. No.
I in like 2007 temporarily did some music promotion. I worked with them.
Oh,
And
cool.
I was curious. I looked them up. I'm like, maybe I can find them. They're back too,
Oh wow.
apparently.
Oh,
Just
gonna have to reconnect with them, Chris.
I
Yeah.
know. Pull them on here. Now their Instagram says emo dads from New Jersey.
There you go. That's where
Um,
we're at for sure.
so I've got an obscure question for you. Now I don't know if this is true, but at one point, and I think it was on the tour I mentioned, somebody mentioned at one point that you guys were friends with Tony Hawk and he joined you guys on tour.
Whoa. That couldn't have been us. Although I will say, we did have a drummer who has gone on to do incredible things. John Smith was our drummer for our first album and like so many of our early tours. He started a company called Kill Brand, and now he's based out of LA, and they're still doing it. Like they sponsored so many of the Warped Tour bands, in the kind of late 2000s, and he has gone on. He's like one of Sean White's like best friends. So I don't know about the Tony Hawk reference. It could have been adjacent to us because we did do a lot of shows with bands from the kind of Tony Hawk Pro Skater soundtrack. That would be rad, but it sadly is not us.
Darn, Chris, we don't have a second in. No, it's kidding.
Wait, but isn't his is his daughter married to somebody else's son, or is his son married to somebody else's daughter, who's also a famous, not a Nepo baby, but like the son or daughter of a famous person?
Riley Hawk was married to Kurt Cobain's daughter,
Ah,
if
okay.
I have it
Yep.
correct.
There you go. That's it. That makes sense. Yeah.
He's
Maybe
looking
there's
it
an in
up.
there.
He's looking it up. Are you looking it up?
I did, and I'm
Okay.
right.
There you
He's
go.
right. He's right.
Um, yeah, that's a connection right there.
That
Yeah.
I
is.
feel like we're on like a Degrees of Bacon, but with Tony Hawk now.
Yeah,
Hey, I'm
absolutely.
just still stuck on the fact that he said their old drummer is best friends with Sean White.
Yeah, like super tight. Like they snowboarded in Japan together.
Which is funny because when we had we had Omar on from Hit the Lights.
Oh, cool.
He was talking about us telling us a story about when they played X Games and it was Winter X Games and they had
Oh,
like snowboarders and stuff like flying past them. He's like Shaun White this, like and then yeah. And
yeah.
then it was their guitarist Kevin, I think he said, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he said Kevin slipped on their on their monitor on stage and kind of messed up his brand new guitar.
Ooh, that's what happens.
But that's funny because I'm like, you've mentioned Shaun White, and I think Omar mentioned Shaun White.
There you go. And he's a pretty good guitar player from what I hear.
Oh,
I
Shaun
mean,
White?
yeah, there's
Hey,
nothing he
wouldn't be
can't do,
surprised. I wouldn't be surprised.
right? He's extreme at everything.
Now, for our last question, talk about extreme. This is an extreme transition. Last question, most important question. What is your favorite dinosaur?
Ooh, man. I haven't done that much research recently. When my kid was 3, he was like the dino expert. But I go back to the original Jurassic Park, and Velociraptor's a badass. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, if that's what they were like, if they
I
weren't
know.
covered in
Well,
feathers or,
Jurassic Park is definitely not depicted correctly, according to our paleontologist.
right, right. So yeah, I mean that 6-inch claw, that's badass.
I love how I'm like our paleontologist, Chris.
Yeah, we
He's
have resident
ours.
paleontologist.
Sweet.
Yeah, no, the 6-inch claw. I really like it. Isn't it one of the opening scenes after they go through like it starts with that guy getting eaten as they're loading in the Velociraptor, and then
Yep.
it goes to them finding the Ember. But the very next scene with Alan Grant talking to the kid, like
Yeah.
show some respect and like scraping the claw across his belly.
Yep. Yep.
Such a great scene.
It just sticks with you.
It sticks with me as T-Rex eating the guy on the toilet, so
Oh
yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
And the kitchen scene. I mean, it's such a classic
Oh
movie,
man,
Jurassic Park.
it really is. I funnily enough, in 8th grade, when that movie came out, these girls in one of my classes, in my English class, I think, wrote fanfic about the Jurassic Park characters. And yeah, I forget the name of Jeff Goldblum's character, but it kind of revolved around him because they were obsessed with him.
Ian
Yeah.
Malcolm.
Ian Malcolm, yes, thank you.
Chris knows his Jurassic Park,
Oh yeah,
I can tell by
inside and
the
out.
sheets. Yeah.
right? Oh, yes. And they glow in the dark.
They do glow in the dark. I just got them like a couple days ago.
Nice.
I was at the store and I'm like, I turned to my girl. I'm like, do you dare me to get them? She's like, absolutely. They were in the kids section, but they fit my bed. So what do
Perfect.
I care?
Who cares? Some kids' beds are queen size now, so
What did Omar answer that same question?
he did. What dinosaur was Omar? I'd have to look back.
T-Rex?
He might have been a
Classic.
T-Rex. He
Or
might have
did
been
he
a
go
T-Rex.
pterodactyl?
He might have been a T-Rex or a pterodactyl. I'd
Yeah.
have to look back.
We've gone through so many.
Yeah, it's hard to
Yeah.
We've heard
remember
so
everyone's
many
dinosaur. We
dinosaurs.
should go through and make a list of everyone's dinosaurs.
Totally.
Post and then we post that list somewhere online.
Actually, I would be curious to know the consensus.
Hmm.
You
And you
know,
can
like
do like AI, Omar as a T-Rex, or me as a Velociraptor. I'm down with that.
Chris, now I need myself AI'd as a Brachiosaurus and you need to be AI'd as an Ankylosaur. Because those are our favorite dinosaurs.
Nice.
Yeah, no, we need to make a list, Chris. I want to know what the favorite dinosaur has been since we started asking the questions. At
All
least
right.
at least we asked this question at the very end of all our conversations, so it'll be easier to, find them all.
That's true.
We have had a couple people answer like crazy questions, though. Like you'd be like, "What dinosaur is that?"
Oh,
We have had a
yes.
couple, but only the super dino nerds.
That's true.
What are you looking up now, Chris?
Nothing.
You looked like you were looking something up, and I was like,
No,
"Oh,
no,
what's he
no, no.
throwing in here?"
No, I'm not throwing anything in here.
But the dinosaur question was our final question. Is there anything you want to add at the end of this conversation before we hit stop recording?
No, I mean, I think you guys mentioned that the new Tokyo Rose single is coming out January, so it will have already come out when this is posted and published. But look out for more Tokyo Rose new music in 2026. We've got an EP brewing. We've got a couple tracks in the can. A couple more will be finished recording by the end of the next 2 weeks. And yeah, new music is on the horizon for sure.